After 3 months, I qualified as a PT and I started helping people and I loved it. Talk about most PTs, why they're crap. It's not as glamorous as you think. The hours literally suck balls. Let's talk about the reality of being a PT, and it's not as glamorous as you may think. Okay, so just a little bit about me. I'm Gia. I qualified in 2019 as a PT. So at the time, I was working in reception in a leisure centre, and upstairs we had about 7 male PTs. We had 1 female PT that focused on Pilates, and that was it. So a lot of people did ask me if I was a PT. And I was like, I wasn't, but I was really interested in fitness. And I went and did my qualification with YMCA. I went and did the weekend course, and then weekdays I'd work on reception. And after 3 months, I qualified as a PT and I started helping people and I loved it. And then 1 month later, guess what happened? This was 2019, 2020. This is a pandemic hit. So I literally could only PT for like, I think a month or two. And yeah, me and my first ever client had a conversation. We're like, okay, so this is a new chapter of life. We don't know what's going to happen. There was a lot of apprehension, you know, pandemic. We've never lived through it. We don't know what the hell to expect. So I couldn't train her and I had to pivot to going online. That's a whole other story, but that's just a quick, like how I became a PT. Right, let's get into the video. I'm sorry, there's one more thing I need to talk about before I get into the video. So anybody can become a PT. You just need to be over 16 and you needed to have used any piece of like cardio kit or free weight in the gym, and you are eligible to become a PT, which is a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing. It means, you know, it opens the barriers to a lot of people. It's a bad thing because it means any Tom, Dick and Harry can become a PT and they end up being crappy PTs. And that's gonna be another video why I talk about most PTs, why they're crap. Let's finally get into the video. Number one reason why being a PT is not as glamorous as you think. The hours literally suck balls. Okay, so what I mean is some clients, they're available at like 6 a.m. in the morning. Some clients are available 7 p.m. And unless you can commit to those times, you won't be able to work with those clients. I'm super fortunate. Like my clients are awesome. Like all of them work around my schedule and I sometimes work around their schedule, but they're freaking awesome. I've worked in another gym where there was no flexibility, and that's completely fine. People are busy, they're working, they've got kids, they've got loads on. You know, I'm not expecting people to work around my schedule, but that is the reality. Like sometimes I used to work like 60 hours sometimes, and that's including like gym inductions and making programs and PT, and it can get exhausting. And if it's that time of the month and you're a female and you're PTing, it's hard. It's physically, mentally, emotionally draining, because when you're with somebody for an hour and you're good PT, it takes a lot of brain power. When I'm with somebody, I'm giving them 12 years of my experience, and that's why I charge so much. Because I'm making sure they don't make the same mistakes that I do. I'm making sure they have all the tools that they need, and I'm giving them everything for those 45 minutes. In saying so, if you live near to the gym, it's a massive help, because then you can pop home, you can have food, you can have a little bit of a change of an environment. But if you're in the gym for 16 hours, it really is exhausting. And if you're thinking about doing this long term, it's just not possible. Like being a PT full-time long-term is not sustainable unless, you know, you don't do 37 hours, you do 20 hours and you have those breaks. And you know, it's just it really is exhausting, time draining and exhausting. Let's talk about the money. So money varies month to month. It depends on, you know, your lead gen and your customer retention and you know, your positive or negative vibes. If you're being a little shit, nobody's going to want to work with you. If you're being happy and optimistic and helpful and just giving, it's going to attract differently. So if you are working on yourself, you're going to be making money. If you're being a little shit, don't expect to make money. Actually, for some people, they'd be little shits and they still make money. You guys, how do you do it? But for me, I've been doing it for so long. I've noticed when I'm being a little shit and I'm ungrateful and like my energy is off, I don't get clients. And that's just the reality. So if you're relying on just being a PT and no other income, you just expect your income to fluctuate unless you have a really solid system and, you know, you're on top of your lead gen and your CRM and everything. In the beginning, for most people, I didn't have any business skills. I didn't have any lead gen skills. I didn't know anything about marketing. I didn't think this was about sales. I thought it was about personal training. Oh boy, was I wrong. So full transparency, some months I make £1,000, some month is £3,000, some months is £500. And again, it goes down to loads of different things. I can't maybe commit to the times that my clients can. Some people move away, some people don't want to do sessions anymore, some people can't afford it, some people, there's so many different reasons why current clients cannot work with you again, and that's totally fine. That's just how it is. So that means you're always looking for clients. And so unless you have another source of steady, stable income, just relying on your PT business is quite challenging in the beginning. So at the moment, I'm a full-time gym instructor, so that pays the bills. And then everything I make from my personal training business, it goes into my personal training, my website, my YouTube, like my personal development. It goes into the business. So this is like what feeds the business, whereas my full-time job keeps me stable, if that makes sense. Let's move on to the third reason being a PT is not so glamorous. Okay, so if you're sick, you don't get paid. And that sucks. Like, when you work hard. And if you're sick and you don't want to be sick, but you're sick, it's just how it works. You can't work, you don't get paid. And when you don't get paid, you can't pay your bills. And unless you have a steady, stable income, it can cause problems. So you just have something that's giving you stable income and then build up your PT. Or unless if you're in an environment like, a really busy commercial gym where PT leads are guaranteed, but then still you have to work your ass off because most PTs don't charge enough and they're overworked and drained. And that's the next thing I'm going to talk about. Yeah, so the next thing is a lot of PTs just don't charge enough. They charge £30–40 an hour, and that's great because it can help a lot of people. But if you're having to work 20–30 hours a week and only charge that amount, you're actually doing yourself a disservice because you're going to be tired. You're not going to be able to give as much as yourself to those clients, and you're not going to show up in the same way as if you're charging more and doing less sessions, because you've slept enough, you've eaten enough, you're recharged, you're rearing to go. So I'm actually an advocate for charging more. At the moment, I charge £95 for a 45-minute session. I used to charge £50 an hour, and then I increased my worthiness, and I was like, I'm actually giving you 12 years of my experience in that 45 minutes, and that is why I'm charging so much. Being a PT is actually being in a sales business, which means you're always selling. I know, like when I did the PT course with YMCA, Dan, our instructor, he was like, you're in the sales business. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm in the muscle building business. He's like, no, you're not. And I'm like, huh? And now I realize what he meant. It's a freaking sales. Anytime you're dealing with customers, it's a sales business, no matter what it is. So you have to learn to sell. And you can either be a sleazy snake oil salesman, or you can have it, like if a feel good kind of, I'm going to serve you and help you and come and work with me attraction kind of marketing. I used to be the sleazy snake oil salesman because I didn't know any better. And then you learn and you're like, actually, I'm going to be the best PT and I'm going to attract my dream clients. And that's what happens. And boy, is that so much more easier and effortless compared to being an asshole. I said this at the beginning of the video, but becoming a PT, the threshold is so low that any Tom, Dick and Harry can become a PT, which is not good because I have come across some really crappy PTs. Okay, let me explain to you why they're crappy, okay? Right, so I'm not going to say the name or the gym, right? This person was helping their client squat. The weight was, it was a barbell back squat, right? In front of a squat rack. The weight was really heavy. How did I know the weight was really heavy? Because when the guy was unracking it, he was really unstable on his feet. Super unstable. That's the indicator his body is not used to pushing that much weight. Second thing is his depth. He did a quarter of a squat. Unless you have medical problems, mobility problems, or some sort of other restrictions, doing a quarter of a squat ain't going to do jack shit, especially with that heavy weight. If he had medical problems, he shouldn't have been carrying that heavy weight. He needs to go less weight, focus on the full range of movement, even half a rep, focus on good quality reps, and then talk about something else. So that's how I know it was a shit PT. There's so many other instances where, they don't do any warm-up. The weight is too heavy. there's lots of like, if you're doing a bicep curl, it's like a hip thrust movement, and it's just basic stuff that these PTs don't do or don't advocate. And I'm like, how the hell are these people coming back to you week after week? And also, you see a lot of these clients, they don't make any results, they don't make any changes, there's no transformation. They've been working with these PTs for months and months, and nothing has changed. And I know you cannot leave your results to your PT. Like, what you do outside of the gym matters, but if you're doing 2 sessions a week and you're making some sort of improvement with, you're moving a little bit more outside of the gym, you're eating a little bit better, you will see an improvement, either feel or see an improvement in 2 months. But these people, they look exactly the same. Their form hasn't improved, the quality of movement is crap, their body composition hasn't changed, their stamina and endurance is the same. And that's how you can tell they're working with really crappy PTs. And these crappy PTs charge 30, 40, 50, 60 pounds an hour. And I'm not saying just because you charge less, you're a crappy PT. And I'm not saying just because you charge more, you're an excellent PT. But a lot of these PTs, they've just bypassed the basic things. And that is because so many places offer PT courses. Like, you can do PT courses in any online website. And I don't know what they teach. Do they even go through form and technique? Do they even go through warm-up and full range of movement and mind to muscle? The basic things, the basic foundation of weight training. Do they even go through it? I don't think so. And that's why it sucks balls that there are so many crappy PTs out there. And that is why I have the confidence to charge more, because I know I'm not a crappy PT. I used to be a crappy PT when I first qualified because I didn't know any better, because I wasn't taught the stuff. And then you go and do your own research and you learn from people, from powerlifters and people that have been doing it for 20, 30 years. Not influencers, people that have actually been in the game and done it for long, and they're qualified and competent. You learn from them. And that is who I've learned from. And that is why I feel confident in what I charge. And I don't feel sleazy or shitty for charging that much. I know I mentioned a lot of negative things of being a PT, but I do want to finish on a high, and it is that it's so rewarding to hear my client wins. Like, my favorite time is when, I'm not going to say his name, but he's about 74 years old, and he loves his gardening, and he just loves to be able to like do stuff with his grandkids. And he comes to me, he's not a client, he's just in the gym, I just help him out. And he comes to me and he's like, oh, my hips feel a little bit tight, there's a little bit of pain, there's a bit of stiffness there in the morning, and getting up and down to do gardening is a little bit difficult. So I just gave him a few simple exercises. I actually gave him the cable 6-in-1. I'll enter the video here. And I told him to do that with really light weight, start with 5 reps, focus on full range of movement, focus on mind to muscle connection, do that twice a week, every single week, for at least 4 weeks. And he came back to me, I saw him after about 6 weeks, and he was just like, oh, Gia, by the way, the exercise that you gave me, they really helped, so thank you so much. And I was like, I love it. Like, he's 74 years old, he's listening to what I'm saying. That's exactly what you want. You want somebody that's coachable. You want somebody that's going to take your advice on board. They're not going to question you. They can question you, that's fine, but they're not going to like judge you and be like, why are you giving me that and not that? There is a reason why I've given him those exercises, because I know they're going to pinpoint exactly where those issues are. I'm not giving him anything fluffy, nothing dangerous, nothing that looks fancy. It actually looks very simple, but it got the job done. And every time he sees me now, he just shares his wins with me, and I freaking love it. And that is why I still PT right now, and I'll probably like to do it for a little bit longer as well. But yeah, I wanted to end on a positive. It's not all doom and gloom. There is light at the end of the tunnel, and it's those wins that keep you going. They keep reminding you why you're doing this and why health is the best gift that you can give anybody. If you made it to the end of this video and you're thinking of being a PT, of studying for the course, let me know in the comments below, like, who are you thinking of doing it with? Why do you want to become a PT? I want to know your reason. What is it? Do you want to make money? Do you want to help people? Do you want to grow a business? Do you think it's glamorous? Like, let me know. I want to know what your thoughts are. And if you have any questions for me about being a PT, I love being transparent. Whatever it's about, let me know in the comments below. And in the meantime, eat your cake, do your curls. Oh my god, I lost my curls. And I'll see you in another video. Watch this video next. All right, bye.